man, what we need is wisdom.
What we suffer from is the lack of wisdom. You gotta realize that you basically don't know anything. One way that angels get to have the wisdom that they have, in case anyone wants to try to approach that, is that they share knowledge with each other. The angelic mindset is almost a communal. It is not a hoarding mindset. This is what Swedenborg says about it. We may gather how great angels' wisdom is from the fact that in heaven there is a communication that involves everyone. The intelligence and wisdom of one individual is shared with another. Heaven is where everyone shares everything of value. This is because the very nature of heavenly love is to want what is one's own to belong to another. And so no one in heaven regards his or her good as authentically good unless it is someone else's as well. This is also the basis of heaven's happiness.
And that contrasts in my mind with the idea of being sort of the world expert on this or that, where you would tend to feel like if you had that arrogant sense of like, I invented this, I saw this is my intellectual property. And so I'm not telling you how I do the amazing thing I do. That's how I make my living. I'm not
Company secrets.
I'm not sharing that with you, you know. And so it's an opposite spirit of saying, I discovered this and I'm immediately going to share it out to everybody so that everybody has access to this. And I get the benefit of all those other people sharing with me.
How fascinating it says that you're not happy. Is it the thing that you have? Let's say you have some kind of breakthrough or you have some kind of talent or something, and you feel like, this is great, but I have not given this to anyone. Like nobody else co-owns this with me, so I'm not happy. That the state of happiness in heaven is knowing this is a shared thing. This is not just mine. Because it's the opposite. It's the opposite here. You feel like what's cool is that I can do this thing nobody else can do. But there, it's like, man, only I can do this or be this or something. I'm not happy yet. And I think it's because they can see that, oh no, there's such a better happiness that comes out of everyone loves everyone. And I want to participate in that.
The collaboration.
Swedenborg goes on. Angels are led into it, heaven's happiness, by the Lord, whose divine love has this same quality. So that's how God feels. God has all these infinite things and all these knowledge and powers and everything, but is saying, this is no fun. I have not given these things to anyone. That's when I come alive. And that's the point of creation, is I'm trying to, heaven from the human race is simply the Lord giving everything good that he has to us.
Yeah.
That's why the whole thing happened.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Okay. I have also been granted knowledge by experience of this kind of communication in the heavens. Once some simple people were taken up into heaven, and after they arrived also at an angelic wisdom. They understood things that they could not grasp before, and said things that they could not express in their former state.
So that almost suggests, Swedenborg is often against the idea that it's just get in the door of heaven, as we were talking about earlier. And yet, there's so much wisdom floating around up there that when they simply go there, they're suddenly, it reminds me of the end of The Wizard of Oz, where all of a sudden the character has a brain and starts spouting, and surprising himself. He says all these wise things.
Yes.
Yeah, they've suddenly stepped into that pool where all that exists, and it's being funneled into them from everybody. And so it's coming right out of their mouth spontaneously.
Love and wisdom. We were talking about love and wisdom before. And I think that the thing what was it that allowed you to see or not see the temple of wisdom? What was it allowed you to enter? What's your attitude toward yourself? It doesn't matter what you know. It matters how do you feel about what you know. Mm-hmm. Are you selfish about it, or are you humble about it? That's the distinction. And so it seems that to go past an angel in training and become an angel, it's really about being humble instead of selfish. That's what it all boils down to. Once you're humble, that love can just accept all the truth in the world. You can just download all like that. It marries itself to that truth. So the hard part is getting the heart right. The mind can follow, no problem.
Yeah.
If you want angelic wisdom, and this is something you can have in your life right now, as I said, don't be selfish. Selfish ruins heaven. Selfish ruins heaven. Well, you don't have to take my word for it. This is from Heaven and Hell 272. There is still another reason, beyond the ones already given, why angels can accept so much wisdom. A reason that in heaven is actually the primary one. Oh, this is just what we were just talking about. It is that they are free of any selfishness. For to the extent that people are free of selfishness, they can be wise in divine matters. Selfishness is what closes off our deeper natures from the Lord and heaven, and opens our outer natures and turns them toward ourselves. So all people in whom that selfish love predominates are in the depths of darkness as far as heavenly realities are concerned, no matter how much light they may enjoy in regard to worldly matters. In contrast, since angels are free of that love, selfishness, they enjoy the light of wisdom. The heavenly loves in which they are centered, love for the Lord and love for their neighbor, open the deeper levels because these loves come from the Lord and the Lord himself is within them. Dude, this is the E equals MC squared of human happiness. As you are freed of selfishness, you become happy.
And it's depicted in that building that we were just hearing about, because I think about somebody saying, well, I want to really come up with my own ideas, so I'm going to wall off my mind and have my own thoughts in here. But you build a little building and it gets very stale in there. You have no windows, there's no movement of air and so on. And it gets pretty awful inside there. The idea that no, it flows in from outside. You open the windows, you got light flowing through, and it gives me a beautiful feeling about just how great that is when you are willing to make that terrible sacrifice of the little king in there. You know what I mean? The little I am God. You know, I'm ruler of the universe.
Or I want my way. I want to be right. I want to control people. Whatever form it takes for you.
Yeah. Sacrifice that. Then there's this whole world. So the idea of being receptive, and some people being more receptive than others, where just wide open to this wisdom that's flowing all around. The only thing is you have to realize it comes from outside of you. That's it. Just a little humility to say it comes from outside of you.
Yeah.
Then you can have all you want.
Because it's not gonna hurt you. It's not gonna inflate your ego further. It's not gonna be damaging to you. So we were talking about before how there's this idea in Swedenborg that, and this is coming from that temple in heaven, that you gotta realize that you basically don't know anything. You basically don't know anything. Have that humility and you can see the temple. And we were talking about how it needs to feel like love if it's coming from God. That idea shouldn't be crushing you or making you feel miserable. And this illustrates how that's so. Because if this is true, that selfishness is what makes you unhappy. Your selfishness is what makes you unhappy. I know God would be saying to you or I know that you're unhappy in your life in all these various ways. The reason why I can't come in there, and regardless even of what's going on in your external circumstances, give you hope, joy, comfort, resilience, fortitude, peace, love, anything, is because of that selfishness. Selfishness is the happiness killer. What this concept that in order to go into angelic wisdom, you need to realize that what you know is nothing compared to what you don't know. What that's doing to you, it's helping get your selfishness off you. It's helping freeing you from your selfishness. That's why it's good news, and that's why it's from the Lord, because this is, saying like, yeah, your foot hurts. Your foot hurts. You know why? There's a big splinter in there. And it doesn't matter what you do, you got to get that splinter out.
Yeah.
And then you're going to find your foot's going to feel good. So what I'm trying to do is, even though, this is a bit of tweezers, this hurts a little bit on the way. Maybe it's a bit of a rough journey doing hey, I realize that I need a lot of work on me. I've got to give up some things. But the reason is I'm get that splinter out. I'm going to take that selfishness out of you. and then you're going to be happy. Then you're going to be happy.
It's such a community-based idea, isn't it? I mean, the individual is very important and is a unit of society, and everybody's unique and different. But it's very much about being in a community and what makes you good in a community, what makes you a valuable member of a community.
That's not your job to love yourself and like think about yourself. That's not your job. It's not that nobody's going to do that. Oh no! Like God is thinking about you all the time, and loves you in particular for who you are, and made you to be that way, and even wants you to be just distinctly yourself, and continue to bless and make that thing better. Swedenborg says elsewhere that the highest angels, they don't want to be anybody really, but God will not let them off the hook. He says, no, you've got to be you, and I'm going to keep giving you great things, including things like honor and prestige and things. I'm going to keep doing that. And everybody else in your heavenly community, they think about you, and they love you, and they love you for who exactly you are, and they continue to honor and have relationship with you and everything. That's there. It's not like get rid of the love for you, but that's not your job. That's not your job, because it doesn't ever really work. Like sure, there can be a stopgap of loving yourself and thinking about yourself.
Sure.
And if you've got like big self-esteem struggles, that can be a stopgap. But ultimately, the state of happiness is one in which not where it doesn't matter who you are, but the love for you comes from other people to you and comes from God to you, and you're part of the love for everyone else. And so everyone gets everything they need.
Yeah.
Another factor as to how angels get to be as wise as they are is
There's more?
Oh yeah, there's like what we've covered is basically nothing compared to what we haven't covered. They desire wisdom. You think about what you desire in life.
Oh, okay.
They desire wisdom. This is a short one from Heaven and Hell 274. Since wisdom perfects angels and makes their life, and since heaven with its blessings flows into individuals according to their wisdom, all the people there long for it and seek it, much the way a hungry person seeks food. In fact, information, intelligence, and wisdom are spiritual nourishment, the way food is natural nourishment. They correspond to each other.
That's really potent to me, because when you get to that hunger, sometimes people listening to a talk will say, wow, you really gave us a meal there, or that was nourishing or satisfying.
And other times they'll say, like, I wish that I didn't come. But
that's right. But I'm allergic to whatever that was.
When it goes like, whoa.
It's going to take me another minute to get over that.
I mean, a little too close to home for both of us. Right. Having given many talks where people say, well, I'm going to be sick after that talk. Thanks for nothing, Curtis.
Yeah, right. The idea of having a galloping appetite.
Yeah.
Just such a hunger. And a hunger for wisdom, knowing that you don't have as much as would be optimally useful.
Yeah.
Pulling you forward. I need to know much more about how this works. And there's something about, to me, being involved in, getting involved with a nonprofit, being on the board of a nonprofit, and then becoming president of it for a while, and other settings like that, where you really realize, man, what we need is wisdom. We need wisdom.
Yeah.
It took me a long time because Swedenborg uses this word, wisdom. And he's always talking about, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what, do we need that? But when you get into a situation where you're trying to do good for the world, you realize, we really need wisdom. We need this badly. He talks at some point, I think, about the ancient Greeks and the philosophers, where just a few people realize, wow, our community really needs more than we have right now. And they were the developers of this amazing wisdom, receiving it from God, but getting this wisdom, that was a birthplace that's still known for the wisdom that came into the world through these ancient Greeks. And I love the idea that it just came from people wanting to do good for society, that how can we have a functioning society if we don't know these things? We need more wisdom to be able to bless people and benefit them.
And wisdom, that's a great sentiment. Wisdom, just so we can clear this up, wisdom does not mean book it does not mean knowing a lot of facts.
Right.
There's a very important distinction. Wisdom is using whatever knowledge to live a good life. The wisest life is a life well lived. And that's what's valuable. Intelligence is fine, but if it doesn't have wisdom, it doesn't do that much. So look at the way that today's world functions. Do we have intelligence now? I can, with my little computer that's in my pocket, I know more than you do about the subjects you got your PhD in.
Yeah.
Like if you said, what does this Latin word, in a few seconds, I can look in there and say, well, it means this, and I can tell you more about the history of that than you know from that. And I can do more calculations than the best mathematician can in his head. I can know, and I can go through social media, and I can know more about people's lives than their siblings do. And so the world is a great place now,
isn't it?
Everything is good.
Everything's good.
Because everyone's intelligent.
Was that intelligence.
No. What we suffer from is the lack of wisdom. It is not knowing a ton of facts or having access to all those. Everybody knows everything now. That's over. The problem is the living of a good life, the using of those to live a good life.
Yes.
That's what you hunger for. That's what you crave. That's when we're trying to be a good person. Wait, I need to know how to be good. What should I be doing to be a good person? That's what's precious. If you have that drive to apply that, because we should be good. We need to be good.
It's striking me why Swedenborg always pairs wisdom with love. I'm suddenly realizing that, it's wisdom and love, wisdom and love. And wisdom is really wisdom about how to love. You can have a lot of intelligence about how to, run a network all over the world or beam messages out to the moon or whatever. But how to love, what is going to benefit the human race, what's going to make for a good society, that's where you're into the territory of wisdom. And Swedenborg often says it's a completely different level than the level of knowledge. And that's a completely different level than the level of intelligence or understanding. You need all of them, but wisdom has a whole component that's not just more intelligence. It's something entirely different.